like to welcome each and every individual to the Voices of Integrity with Legacy Partners podcast. If you're struggling and getting biggest challenges, it's okay. That happens. So, Cheryl, do you know why I won't go ahead and ask you why you're struggling?
Probably because you asked me too many times.
Okay. Elaine, do you know why I'm not going to ask Cheryl why she's struggling?
She's a woman and you don't tend to push women.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome. Um, so in the pre-podcast, which you always want to show up for the pre and the post, that's where the fun happens. We were talking and we went through. I'll just give you a summary. I said, Cheryl, do you understand how much of a genius I am? She said yes. And then I asked Elaine why I said that, and then she shared. And then I said, Cheryl, do you know who I can help, who I want to help? And then Cheryl went ahead and, or then Elaine said, CJ, and then Cheryl said, her daughter, and then her husband. And then I asked Cheryl before that how many VCs she got. She said one. I said, well, that's better than none. I said, how many would you like to get? She said, 10 to 20. And then I said, well, I could help the person that went ahead and that you got the biggest challenge. So it doesn't have the effect, it doesn't have the effect that 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 it had when I was talking. Now I'm trying to find it. So it doesn't have the effect of when we talk through it. So I don't know, it's more smooth when I'm just flowing, but it takes a lot more time. So anyways, who else, Cheryl? Who else can I help?
Aside from what we talked about earlier,
Yeah, who else do I want to help?
probably all my biggest challenges I get.
Yeah. And all the ones you don't get. The 9 people or the 19 people that you didn't get, I can help those too.
Right.
So how am I going to help all those people, Cheryl? I mean, I've got 7 kids, I've got 8 grandkids, 2 more on the way. I mean, I got a lot going on in my life, like a lot. Like Elaine, maybe you can share. I don't know what you share, but you see behind the scenes, like when I played volleyball with your kids last night, your husband and then your son and your daughter and the 2 sons and your daughters were watching. So you said, they got to see a different side of Mark Borisma, not, sort of playing volleyball. So they saw not just the serious side, the serious crazy side, but then they saw the non-serious crazy side. So that's one of the things I love about sports is that people do see me in a very different way when I'm doing sports. Big time. And so they see how competitive I am, which they kind of sense that. But then, especially if I'm playing with, kids, or if I'm playing with my son, Ben, they're like, he's a goofball. he just, like, he's very competitive, but he tries to make it fun. Anyways, um, so Cheryl, I can help everybody that you know in your life and anybody you don't know in your life. Do you want me to do that, Cheryl?
Yes, I do.
Do you know that I can? How am I supposed to help everybody in your life and people who aren't in your life? How am I supposed to help you and them without, like, how do I find the time to do that?
How do you find the time to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Elaine,
First of all, I'm gonna have to get the people so that you can help them, and it seems kinda that you always do have the time then, so I don't know how to answer that.
Elaine, do you know how I find the time to help?
You time block a lot of things.
Okay. So what if Cheryl gets, 20 people? Am I gonna, if I spend a half an hour with each one of those 20 people, that's 10 hours a week. Am I gonna have 10 hours a week to help Cheryl, Elaine?
Yeah, you delegate other things to other people.
Okay. So Elaine, I don't know if you can come up with just, I don't know, just a paragraph or whatever, just something to try to communicate, because you see behind the scenes. Like, I don't know. I don't think I try to present my life as having my act together. Like, I don't think I try to sugarcoat my life. I don't think I try to make myself look like a really good husband or a really good dad. I don't think I try to make my wife like look like she's just an amazing wife and mom. I don't think I try to make my kids look like, oh, they're amazing kids. Like this family has it all together. I don't think that I do that. Elaine or Cheryl, would you guys agree with that or not so much?
Yeah, I think you're very open about things that are going on in your life, and I'm pretty sure you're always using your family as examples of personalities and how they interact and what the you know the I don't want to say effects, but like what the reactions are to different scenarios.
And I try to respect my wife and my kids and try to honor boundaries, whatever that means. I won't say what I told Adam earlier today because this is recorded. Not that any of my kids would ever listen to anything I say or record, but just in case, I won't tell, I won't say it publicly, although I have no problem saying it. What I told Adam, what I thought about two of my kids, like, like not a happy camper. Like I'm not a happy camper. So like I think sometimes, Elaine, people think that I have this cush, easy life that, you know, I just have nothing going in my life. I think people have that impression, Elaine. Maybe not,
They might, yeah.
but you see behind the screen.
Yeah.
Any anything you'd want to share about my life?
Um Trying to think how you want to share it.
What Elaine is trying to share. So part of it's finding the right words, and part of it is Mark going to be upset or hurt or angry, or is Roseanne or the kids based on what I share? So she's trying to find the right words, but then she doesn't want to be offensive either. She could say, I'm just here to tell you Mark's life is a mess. He's a mess.
I mean, it in all honesty, it's very complicated. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of the kids are a lot of different levels. A lot of kids are in their married life have a lot of conflict. But all in all, um, Mark's out there. He's helping everyone, and yeah, he takes the time for everyone. He always has the time for everyone. There's never a time that he doesn't have time for anybody. So I'm not
So
sure.
so Elaine, um, have you ever heard me say, you've known me, I think, for 3 years or so? Have you ever heard me say and give a reason why I'm not able to do something?
No, you don't have reasons
Why?
because you always have time. You always make time. You always Like the reasons are what's the word you use?
Excuses.
Well, yeah, reasons and excuses are pretty much the same thing, but like you don't uh, you don't use excuses. You just do it. Like it has to be done. You do it. It's that you make the time to do it. Just like, uh anywho, I don't know if I can right now if I can convey what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, it's hard for me. It's just, you know what? If something needs to be done, I just do it. I figure out how to do it, and I don't allow my mind to dwell on all the reasons why I don't do it. There's a lot of reasons. Other people, other people have reasons too. And in their own minds, they're good reasons. And when somebody has a good reason for not doing something, they don't want to be told it's an excuse. They'll get mad and hurt and angry, and it actually hurts the situation, doesn't help the situation. And so I hurt for people when people explain why they're not able to do something to me, because I know I can't, especially if they're women and certain personalities who are men too. I know I can't go ahead and confront them on it. I can't say, you know what? And I've been in some pretty tough situations, when your oldest son commits suicide, gunshot to the head, 19-year-old in the room, son in the room, 5 feet from him. It's a pretty traumatic, it's a pretty difficult situation. So I've been through some pretty hard things, you know, like I could go ahead and list the hard things I've been through. The reason I'm very careful not to go ahead and do too much of that because I don't want people to think I'm a victim, because I'm not. Stuff happens in life. It's messy. It's hard. It just is. You know what? It's just stuff happens. Life's messy. Just is. And so I have a choice. I can either let that messy set me back, or I can take that messy and strengthen it and drive it forward. It's a choice. It's a choice every single day that I get to make. Am I going to allow the challenges in life to go ahead? And people say, Mark, you don't understand. And I get it. I don't. I'm not through exactly. I haven't been through. But what they think is well, Mark hasn't been through what I've been through. They're not thinking he's been through worse. They're not thinking that. They're not thinking he's been far through worse, far. Like, ask him questions about having 7 kids and and having his youngest son who's like, I don't know, year and a half old and has a lump on his neck and, you know, has to go into surgery and he has to work and he has to balance his wife and his other 6 kids. And he's got to do, like, trust me, I just don't talk a lot about it because it's like, I don't know that really helps. And I have a rule, to talk about stuff unless it's going to bring value to somebody else. They might give me insight that might help me get through something or handle something or understand something, or what I'm going to share is going to benefit them. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So anyways, getting back to it. So, like Cheryl, she sees something in me that my own brother Ken doesn't see in me. Like once he said, kind of in disgust, it's like, Mark, you just think you can help everybody in the world, don't you? Like, yeah, like, is that a bad thing? I mean, I understand people, I think. I've been through pain. I understand personalities. I get business. I mean, business all around the world. Yeah, I think I can help. I understand. I have a wife of 39 years. I have 7 kids, 8 grandkids. Like, I've been through a fair amount. I think I can help. I think I can help people. The challenge is a lot of people don't want to be helped. And I'm working on that and have been for 15 years. Ginger Ann's mother-in-law said, you can lead a horse to water, but can't make him drink, but you can put salt in the oats. And so I've been working on that since they've been married. I got to figure out how to put salt in her son's oats. Anyways, that's another story for another time. But anyways, so Cheryl, this right here, this page right here, which Adam's going to get out to you and Elaine and all the other EVA coaches and the other LPs, the biggest challenge, bar none, everywhere in the world that businesses are having is they can't recruit employees. This thing is so prevalent. I've never seen anything in over 30 years of business. So Adam sends out 100,000 emails a month. And he'll get, 10 to 20%. So if he sends out 10,000 emails, he'll get, 1,000 to 2,000 people who go ahead and open that email. 9,000 of them won't, but 1,000 of them will. Do you know how many of those 1,000, Cheryl, will actually, click on a link? So here's the email. As a business owner, what is your biggest challenge? Might it be employees? So here's an email. So there's 10,000 that are sent out. There's 1,000 to 2,000 people that will open it. Of those 1,000 that open it, any ideas how many normally click on it, Cheryl?
I do not.
Out of 1,000. Elaine, do you know?
Generally only a handful, if that.
Yeah, so I don't know, it runs maybe 6%, 7%. So you might, out of 1,000, you might get 60. So you could get, 60. Of those, nobody completes. And so, so normally you get 60 people out of 1,000. Maybe. Now, this email, we've been getting 900 people out of 1,000 to click on it. 900. I've never seen anything like it in my life. So,
What's the difference?
it's the copy. It's
Okay.
the copy. It's what I've written. It's the written. People are intrigued by what I've written. So, which of these 4 shapes? So you read this copy. So Adam, you have to go ahead and sell Elaine and Kenny and Luke and Mel. And you got to sell them the LPs on how great this copy is, Adam. You've got to go ahead and share with them, like, this is crazy. We're getting 900 people. So we're getting 2,000-3,000 people who are reading this email and clicking. I've never seen that. And it's consistent throughout the whole thing. Every group that we send it to. So we've hit on something that's employers are they're dying out there. They're dying. Employees, they can't recruit them. And the employees they have are lazy, sloppy, undisciplined, pathetic. They're not productive. They're entitled, self-centered, self-absorbed, narcissistic, self-righteous. They're victims. They're not thankful. They're not humble. And they don't take personal ownership. It's brutal. Like, how are you supposed to run a business? So Adam, in marketing, in Area 1 marketing, when you get something like, how much you and I have worked on this, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. Over and over, time and again. Elaine doesn't know how much we've worked on this because she hasn't been there. She hasn't seen everything. She hasn't seen the work and behind the scenes, but she has a better understanding probably than Cheryl does because she spends more time with me. But they don't understand the work that went into figuring this thing out. Now, what Adam and I are working on now is cracking the code. What does that mean? What we want to do is we can't get them to go ahead when they read this email, they click on this. We know who clicks. We know who clicks on this. Technology is amazing things. The 900 people, we know who those 900 people are. So they read this. But they will not, they click on it. So they read it and they're like, this is interesting, and they click on it. But for the life of us, we cannot get them to give us their email. We cannot get them to go ahead and do this. We can't get them to fill this stupid thing out. Man, does that tick us off. Now, if we have consistently like 2,000 people a week, 8 to 10,000 people, what happens when, I was going to say if, but it's not if, what happens when we get half of them to actually complete this? What's going to happen?
The follow-ups are going to be overwhelming if they're all at the same time.
Right, and they are. I mean, they're not going to wait a week to do it. They're going to, when Adam and I crack this code, we're going to have 500 people. If we only get half of them, if we only go ahead and get 10% of them, we're going to have hundreds, if not thousands of people that are sharing not only their biggest challenge, what they love help with, but it's going to get their personality. It's going to be the level 1. It's going to be 3 minutes.
Is it just the way you word things, or is it how you put color and anything that catches the eye into it? Because just looking at this here now, I wouldn't give it much of anything because it doesn't have color to it much.
Right. So it's everything. So Adam's going to run this, and he's going to go ahead and, we're going to run this, and we're going to see how it works. So Adam, if people aren't working and if they're not contributing to this, then they're not going to go ahead and appreciate it, Adam.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you need to be a little more forceful. And Cheryl and Elaine, they can teach you how to do that. These two ladies can bring on the heat. I'm terrified of both of them. Like, my gracious. Do not want to get on their
I
side.
don't know why you would be, but anyways.
Because you both have, both, one is you're both women. So you're just it's smart as a man to be terrified of women. 2 is you both have characteristics that remind me of my mom. Terrified of that woman in a good way. Like, man, I adored her, miss her. I wish she was here. I really do. Anyways, I mean, she is not physically, but she still is. Anyways, so what we'll do is we'll come back through. And so Elaine has an idea. So what colors should we use and all this stuff? We're going to run with this one, Adam, because sometimes the colors distract. So sometimes it's good not to have color. So we're going to try this one and see how it works, Adam. And then we're going to try another one, and then we'll try another one, and we'll keep trying until we get it. But at some point, see, Cheryl's just having a hard time picking up the phone. I'm pretty sure if we gave her 20 people where we had this information already, my guess is she would call those people and talk. She's just like me. She's a bit shy. I mean, she's not, but she is. I mean, with strangers. So probably. Luke is not shy. Luke is strangers, CJ, he's not shy. I mean, he can be. He's not as shy as, the rest of us are. And so probably in certain situations. And so he has an advantage over us. We've talked about that in previous ones. If you listen to the one where CJ helps and you go, I wasn't helped by CJ, well, then you're not paying attention. So you go through one of these lessons as an LP and you don't gain the benefit, you have to communicate, say, just, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Like, I didn't get anything, from CJ's recording. Okay. That's not on CJ. That's on you. Like, you're not picking up, which is fine. I just got to know it. So if we give Adam, Elaine, and Cheryl, if we have 2,000 people or 500 or even 100 people, So this is how Cheryl's gonna reach what she didn't think she was gonna go ahead and achieve until she was 90 years old. And so, I told her she could reach it a lot earlier. But the thing is she's struggling, with doing some basic stuff out of fear. I mean, yeah, she's got a lot of stuff going. She thinks, though, that she'll have less going in the future. I'm not saying she's not going to. I hope but she's probably going to have just as much going and just in different ways. It's this how life works. I don't know. And so it's okay because I know these, but I believe in Cheryl, and maybe I can help her overcome some of her fears, maybe, or maybe not. But I'm a business guy, even if I don't help her overcome her fears. Well, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and drive the leads to her, Adam. And when we give her the leads, then she's going to find out how fun this is. Like, it's fun talking to people. It's scary talking to people who are strangers that we don't know. Although, Cheryl, any business owner would benefit from this page.
Okay, and you're gonna send that over to me?
Yes, Adam will.
And I can send that to any business owner I want to?
Yeah. And what it does
Okay.
is it educates them. It educates them on, interviewing. So, if you're a ball, if you're an amiable and you're interviewing, this is some tips on how to interview. And here's some tips if you're interviewing in analytics. The amount of information that we give away, Cheryl, people pay tens of thousands, companies pay millions of dollars to have this information. We're just giving it to them for free. There's no cost. There's no cost. It's just like, yeah, no, we'll help you. We'll help
Right.
you. And
So
so,
can I,
go ahead.
so can I use that as my call with the biggest challenge, or is that for something later?
No, you can use it you can use it. So we know what their biggest challenge probably is. It's still good to get them to articulate it, but you could switch up your script and you could say, hey, I was just curious. I was calling a lot. This is Cheryl. Do your setup, your pickup line, your pickup line, and then go ahead and you could say, I've been talking to a lot of business owners and they're having they're having problems hiring people, and they're having problems, getting their current employees to be productive as productive. Is that a problem you're having? And if they say, yeah, that's a problem I'm having, then it's typically not as good as asking them their biggest challenge, but it's okay. Just anything that gets you on the phone talking to people. And so if that makes it easier for you to talk to people, you have something that will see, when you have confidence that you have something that can bring value to people, you're going to have more courage.
Right.
And so I won't give all the history and the experience of when I was 23, 24, 23 through the age of 23 through the age of 30 is when I learned all of this, actually. When I was in 100% straight commission position, my wife was, 3 months pregnant when I started. The first 3 months I made $1 an hour. We just bought a house. I was in desperate situation. I was very, very successful. I was a huge failure. I mean, epic failure for the first 3 months. I mean, I was so terrible, but I had an advantage because I had a wife who was 3 months pregnant. Then after 3 months, 6 months pregnant, and I had a house. I didn't really have a choice to go out and sell. I mean, I could have taken a job. I had 6 job offers, so I could have taken a job. But I didn't want to work in a job. I'd rather die in the jungle than live at the zoo. So I put myself in situations where I had to succeed. And I did, not because I was a good salesperson, not because I was skilled in sales, not because I'm smart, not because I'm an amazing person. It's not any of those. It's not any of that why I succeeded. I succeeded because I had to. It's nothing more complicated than that. I had to succeed. So I did. And that's my experiences with human beings, is that's what happens when you have to succeed, you do. Like when you have a real job, when you have a real job, you don't have to succeed because, you got a real job. So it's very hard to be successful when you have a real job in your own business. Am I saying to quit your job? I am not. I'm just saying that it's hard to succeed when you have a real job. When you're out there and you have to go ahead and do things that you don't like doing or you're afraid of doing, but you're not going to be able to put food on the table, you're not going to pay the mortgage, trust me. So what you do is you trick your mind into thinking, I don't have a job. You just trick your mind into thinking, I don't have a job. And it doesn't matter. It's interesting, wasn't it, Elaine, when we were talking to Peter Schmidt? He's an amputee, 72 years old. And he said, yeah, most people don't succeed. Most people don't change. Most people don't do this. He said, but it was weird. It was interesting. He said, oh, except single moms. So he's observed in life that single moms are like superhuman. Like they figure out how to do things that normal human beings can't do. And so a lot of people would say single moms have a disadvantage. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but I'm not agreeing necessarily either. Like I could see how single moms have an advantage over everybody else. So it's a different way of thinking. It's learning to think and see things in a different way. I don't look at CJ as being handicapped. I don't. I look at him being different than I am. He has gifts and he has things. I can learn as much from him than he can from me, theoretically, because I'm 60 years old. I should be a better student than he is. And I should learn more from him than he does me. But he's a good student and he's studying me in ways that most people don't realize. And so learning to see the world in a different way, people will say you're weird. It's okay. It's good to be weird. It really is. Cheryl, any questions or thoughts that you have?
No, don't think so.
Elaine, thoughts, questions you have?
Just adding to what you said, the way I figured some of this out or decided on some of this was just again, just adding to yours, and just sitting down and going, no, this is what you're going to do today. You will do this, and just make sure that you do it. If what you say that you're going to do that day, by all means do it. Just it's hard, it's something you're scared of, but if you don't jump into the deep end and go for it, you will never push yourself, and you just won't. You're going to have to jump in, and you're going to have to, if you jump in the deep end and you don't know how to swim, you always teach yourself how to swim in a 2-second time span, or you're going to drown. So just do it. Just go for it. Do it. If you say that's what you're going to do that day, and when you wake up, then take that time, do it. It only literally takes, 3 minutes maybe at the max to pick up the phone and call somebody.
There's lifeguards. There just are. So you're not going to drown with this. Like it's going to be amazing. It really will. And, talk to Elaine. Like Elaine works very closely, with me. And so she might have a hard time finding the words, what that's like. But her mind works is there's almost like trauma in working with Mark Boersma. It's almost like he doesn't understand. he's giving me too much information too fast. I can't process it. I'm not keeping up with it. I mean, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm gonna have a stroke. Like, he expects like, there's all of these things, and she knows how to get around. I don't know how. I didn't teach her this. This is not something I taught her. And so if you're struggling, talk to Elaine. If you're frustrated, you want to quit, don't quit. Talk to Elaine. She'll be able to walk you through it. She will. You know, and she got 5 kids and a farm, and she got a lot of stuff going on in her life. And don't go ahead and think, well, Elaine doesn't understand my situation. Mark doesn't understand my situation. Don't think like that. Do not think. When you think other people don't understand your situation, that's when you move into a position you can't learn from them, you can't grow from them. Hopefully this has been helpful. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we can on our own. Talk to your talk to your art mentor, and then talk with your 2 art buddies. Help them, they'll help you, and together we truly can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.